You're watching North Alabama's news leader. WHNT News 19 at 6 starts now.
The director of the Alabama Department of Environmental Management presented an update today on the state's environmental standing, including the latest information about the recent agreement between ADEM and 3M. That is where we begin. WHNT News 19 at 6. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Greg Scrooge.
And I'm Siobhan Bryan. WHNT News 19 investigative reporter Dallas Parker was indicator at the meeting and joins us live with the latest. Dallas.
That's right. The director addressed many things as it pertains to the environment here in Alabama, specifically focusing in on air, water, and land pollution. But the topic of the afternoon, the largest topic, was, of course, the consent agreement between ADEM and 3M and how it could impact people here in Decatur and surrounding areas. Just days ago, the Alabama Department of Environmental Management announced a consent order with 3M that requires the company to clean up any PFAS contaminated sites in North Alabama, ones known and any discovered in the future. But the ability to monitor 3M's progress and hold the company accountable is something that concerns some area citizens. ADEM Director Lance LaFleur was in Decatur Monday. He says 3M has to hold up its end of the deal. If not, the consent agreement will hold up in a court of law.
This is a legal agreement. It is enforceable in the courts, and 3M understands that they have responsibilities under this agreement. Those responsibilities are laid out. As you know, it's a very extensive document. It covers air, land, water, groundwater, surface water. It's very comprehensive, and it is an enforceable legal document.
LaFleur says he does not expect the change to happen overnight, but as of Friday, the clock has started on 3M's obligations under the order.
We are currently involved in the identification phase. That's the beginning of all of this. A dozen sites, dump sites, have been identified already. There will be more, no doubt. And there are other sites where PFAS are found to be present.
The ADEM director says court proceedings for environmental issues can be long and drawn out, and the consent order approach goes beyond what would be possible to do under current regulations. As he sees it, LaFleur says national standards for PFAS compounds are several years away. The consent order allows the state to take action immediately. Now, State Representative Terry Collins was also present at today's meeting, and she says this is something she's wanted to see from 3M all along. She says it could be the first step to 3M making things right here in this community. Now, of course, you can learn more about this consent agreement by heading over to our website at WHNT.com. For now, reporting live in Decatur, I'm Dallas Parker, WHNT News 19.
All right, thanks, Dallas. Let's get a check on the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jason Simpson. Hey, Jason.
Siobhan, we've had some big thunderstorms around this afternoon, and we still have a handful of them out there. They're just not as heavy as they were a few moments ago. The lightning was incredible around Rainsville 15 minutes ago. Now the rain is tapering off in Rainsville. The heavy rain is sliding up to an area where we've already seen quite a bit today on the east side of Sylvania, and there's not as much lightning with it. Other downpours, western DeKalb County, northeastern Morgan County, just to the south of Lacey Spring over Morgan City atop Brindley Mountain. That also slowly, like 5 miles per hour, moving toward the northeast. A few other downpours are possible throughout the afternoon and early evening. This is one of those. Looking west from Tuscumbia, it's 89 with a heat index of 95. Got to walk Trixie this evening. A temperature in the mid 80s to lower 80s through 8 o'clock. Sun goes down at 7:53, and there will be some downpours here and there, but there's a lot more of them coming in the next few days. I'll show you when they get here coming up.
All right, thanks, Jason. Happening today, the late civil rights icon and Congressman John Lewis lying in state at the United States Capitol. According to congressional historians, Lewis is the first black lawmaker to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. A public viewing will take place outdoors this evening as a precaution due to the pandemic. Lewis died at the age of 80 after a 6-month battle with pancreatic cancer.
The Huntsville Hospital Health System is currently treating 219 patients with COVID-19, 58 of them in the ICU, 36 on ventilators. As cases continue to go up, hospital officials say they are also experiencing an increase in staffing concerns. WHNT News 19's investigative reporter Kelly Smith joins us live outside Huntsville Hospital's main campus to explain the situation here. Kelly.
Employees testing positive for COVID-19 or staying home to take care of family members with COVID-19 has been the main source for staffing issues in the health system. But an event taking place next month is creating a challenge for many of the employees at Huntsville Hospital.
Situation is pretty difficult right now.
Thousands of children in North Alabama are preparing to start the fall semester online. Huntsville Hospital CEO David Spillers worries about what this means for hospital staff.
We're getting a lot of phone calls into HR saying, what am I going to do? My choice is stay home and educate my child or come to work, and I got to do both. So we're trying to work through that.
This comes at a time when the hospital is extremely busy. The Huntsville Hospital Health System is breaking its own records at the main campus.
We had 84 neonatal intensive care babies at one time last week. That's the most we've ever had at one time.
And system-wide.
At one time last week, our system had 104 patients on ventilators. That's the most we've ever had at one time. But only about 25% of those had COVID.
To top it off, the health system was already experiencing staffing issues related to the pandemic.
Today, we're probably down about 200 employees with COVID or a loved one with COVID. So that in itself's difficult. You add another 200 to that, and things start getting very difficult to staff some of the areas, particularly when you're full.
Spiller says the hospital is trying to find ways to help employees who will have to juggle work with having kids at home participating in online learning.
We will look at expanding our daycare to see if that helps so that we can get some employees that currently could come back to work if they had daycare for the little ones.
Huntsville Hospital isn't the only health system in our region that is busy right now. Spiller said today at the Huntsville COVID-19 briefing that hospitals in Mississippi, Georgia, and even South Alabama have called and asked the health system to take their COVID-19 patients. Spiller says they are not able to do that at this time. Live in Huntsville, Kelly Smith, WHNT News 19.
All right, thank you, Kelly. The state of Alabama now limiting the sale of alcohol statewide to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. In an emergency meeting this morning, the Alabama Beverage Control Board voted unanimously to cut off on-premise alcohol sales at bars, restaurants, and clubs every night at 11 p.m. Alcohol can continue to be consumed until 11:30. Now, the emergency rule is effective immediately, but it will not be enforced until this Saturday. That's August 1st.
My people will work hand in hand with Aaliyah. In some cases, if it's bars after hours, we don't send our inspectors in the bars after 8 o'clock, but can go in jointly with an Aaliyah alcohol enforcer. They can go in jointly with them, and we'll have full reports on those that have violated.
That's Matt Gibson with the ABC board. Now, violators could have their liquor licenses suspended. The order has a 120-day limit, but it can be canceled at any time.
Since July 16th, 20 members of the Hill Providence Missionary Baptist Church in Collinsville have tested positive for COVID-19. 3 of them hospitalized, 2 have been released. WHNT News 19's Tiffany Lester spoke with the pastor who also tested positive for the virus to tell us more.
The Hill Providence Missionary Baptist Church in Collinsville sits empty after 20 members tested positive for COVID-19.
It all happened so quick.
Pastor Ricky Williams says they shut down when the pandemic first began and had services from the porch. But once Governor Kay Ivey amended her safer at home order, the church resumed services inside the sanctuary.
July the 12th was our last service here. And then some of my church members run a fever, and they got tested and they test positive, so we shut the church down.
There were 64 people at the service that day, which is a typical crowd. Williams tells me both he and his wife have tested positive for the coronavirus. He says while he's been completely asymptomatic, his wife was left feeling lightheaded and weak. Williams says he thought they were doing everything to keep congregation members safe.
We used a lot of hand sanitizer. We sprayed everything down to the best of our ability, and it still attacked us. We had some had wore a mask on the inside, yes, and we distanced. We was separated in there.
He says 2 young girls were baptized during the last service, so he does not regret being open.
I regret that these folks have got sick. That bothers me, and it bothers me that I test positive. But when I look back at the Lord, what he's done for us, I can't second guess him.
Williams' message to the public:
it can spread very easily, but I do want to encourage us, if the Lord brought you to it, he's going to bring us through it.
He says the ongoing COVID-19 crisis has brought his church members even closer than before the pandemic. In Collinsville, Tiffany Lester, WHNT News 19.
Services at the church are now being held through social media, and this isn't the only church in Northeast Alabama with a spike in COVID-19 cases. AL.com reports that more than 40 people have coronavirus after attending a week-long revival at Warrior Creek Missionary Baptist Church last week.
Northwest Shoals Community College is getting ready for the upcoming fall semester with its reopening plan. Now, the college is giving students the option to choose from traditional, online, or hybrid classes. President Glenda Collegros says the college is building on what it was learned beginning in March, while also focusing on keeping students, faculty, and staff as safe as possible. The college understands that every student's situation is different and wants to offer delivery methods that can meet each need.
We want to make sure that we offer something so that regardless of what the student really needs, that they feel comfortable and they feel safe, because we all learn best when we're in a very comfortable setting.
For anyone on campus, face coverings and social distancing are required. Registration for the fall semester is open now and continues through the beginning of classes, which begin on Monday, August 17th.
Okay, so we all know that Huntsville is growing, but how is that affecting people wanting to rent? I'll have what a local property manager is saying about that coming up.
Housing market shows that COVID-19 is not slowing down the buying or selling of homes, but how is that affecting those looking to rent? WHNT News 19's Lauren Hargson spoke to a local property manager to get some insight to that. Lauren.
That's right. The housing market in the Huntsville area is pretty hot these days, which directly correlates to the rental market and might be the reason why it's pretty difficult to find a rental property these days. Basically, if people can't find a home because they're selling out so fast, they're forced to rent, causing rental homes and apartments to fill up fast. And I spoke with Nick Winkles, a realtor who also works with the property management company. And he says right now there is a 5% vacancy rate. And if a property is on the market for more than a week, it's a surprise, and it'll probably have multiple applications. This causes a problem for people needing to rent.
The simple reason would just be supply and demand. We've had an influx of population into Huntsville, and they cannot build properties fast enough to accommodate.
Winkle says if you are having trouble finding a place to rent right now, your best bet is to get a good agent or adjust your search criteria, whether it's a few more minutes away or a few more dollars a month. And he says the solution is exactly what they're trying to do right now, build more properties. Live in Huntsville, Lauren Harkson, WHNT News 19.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jason Simpson.
When we say that downpours will be isolated or few and far between or widely spaced or unevenly scattered, all those words describe this map. You've got some heavy rain in DeKalb County. We have some heavy rain in Lauderdale County and a big gap in between where not much is happening right now. Now, Northeast Alabama has been the hot spot today. I think you'll be the hot spot again tomorrow. Heaviest rain is now just northeast of downtown Rainsville. It's also skipped over Fort Payne and drifting up in the direction of Valley Head. The showers that were over Madison County have faded, and the ones in Marshall County are dissipating as we speak. Heavy rain just north of Fort Payne, just east of Sylvania. Second big downpour of the day just to the east of DeKalb County Lake. Heavy downpours around Central and Cloverdale and Oakland, northwest of Florence. These will start fading away as the sun goes down, and we're already seeing those to the south begin to do that. Watch how crisp these cumulus clouds looked, almost like cauliflower in the sky. Over the period of about an hour and a half, we watched the storms go up in Morgan County, and now we've watched as the instability has started to fail because of rain-cooled air. There's not as much fuel for the storms, and they're not able to support themselves, so they just rain themselves out. And we'll wait until tomorrow to see the next round develop. There's this feature called an upper air low close by. It's a pocket of colder air aloft, and it's spinning around over Louisiana and Mississippi. I've added on the wind contours so that you can see that counterclockwise swirl. Lots and lots of moisture getting pulled north from the Gulf of Mexico. In the next 3 to 4 days, with that pipeline open, we're going to get heavy scattered thunderstorms. So when you see a 70% chance of rain, don't cancel everything because of it. It may not rain at your house, and if it does, it might only be for an hour or two. This is more about the confidence in the number of storms and how heavy they'll be. The showers may thin out a little bit going into Monday, and I think by next Tuesday, things are looking quite a bit drier. About 2 inches of rain expected in the next 7 days. Muggy tonight. Temperatures start out tomorrow morning in the 70s. There could be a brief shower early, but your best chance of rain is going to hold off until about 11 a.m. from 11 a.m. to roughly 8 p.m. tomorrow. Map's going to look like this. Scattered storms are likely, some of them heavy with gusty winds, heavy rain, lots of lightning, and we'll have even more of them on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. 7-day rainfall total close to 2 inches. And by the time we get to next Monday, a cold front may be coming through, a real one that could finally drop the humidity toward the end of next week.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jason. In Morgan County, detectives with the Decatur Police Department working to identify the woman on your screen right now. Take a look at this. She's suspected of starting the fire at the Walmart on Spring Avenue last Wednesday. If you have any information on who this woman is, you're urged to contact authorities at 256-341-4617.
In Marshall County, a woman has minor injuries after crashing into a log truck, and it happened about 1:45 this afternoon near the intersection of Highway 431 and Butler Avenue. The woman was transported to Marshall Medical Center South. No charges expected to be filed against the driver of the log truck.
The countdown to Mars is on. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said in a news conference this morning that the team that's been working on the mission persevered to get to the launch pad.
But we are, in fact, going to launch what we now call Mars Perseverance in the year 2020. And I think the name is perfectly appropriate. A young man in Virginia named Alex Mather, a 7th grader, is the person who named it. And so we are in extraordinary times right now with the coronavirus pandemic, and yet we have, in fact, persevered.
The main job of the Mars Perseverance mission will seek signs of ancient life and collect rock and soil samples from the red planet for possible return to Earth.
Today marks the first official day of high school football fall camp here in Alabama. Hear from head coach Wade Waldrop and the James Clemens Jets on how their training is going next in sports. The James Clemens Jets finished last year's regular season 8-2. They ended up falling short in an overtime thriller in the second round of the playoffs. This year, they're hoping to make another postseason run. Now, the Jets were back on the practice field early this morning for the first official day of fall camp here in Alabama. Today, it looked like most of their summer workouts, since this week is an acclimation week. Helmets and shorts only. They can break out the pads next Wednesday. Now, the Jets are set to open the season against Murphy down in Mobile, a matchup that they are already looking forward to.
No doubt the most talented team we'll see all year long, just on paper. As far as athletes go, 6-hour bus ride, total different climate, temperature. It's going to be a major challenge for us. I think our kids will be ready to go when we get there, but we as coaches have got to do a great job over the next 3 to 4 weeks to prepare them for that.
He just wants us to go out there and be as physical as we can, as much effort as we can put into it, and work our tails off, and just do what we've been coached to do.
Now, on the first official day of fall camp, 2 counties outside of the Tennessee Valley have opted out. Officials in Greene and Sumter counties announced that fall sports, meaning football, volleyball, and cross country, would be canceled for the first 9 weeks of the season amid the coronavirus concerns. This decision impacts 2 high schools, Greene County and Sumter Central. The SWAC has postponed its 2020 football virtual media days. The event was scheduled to take place August 5th through the 7th, but since the SWAC announced it will be postponing all fall sports until 2021, it makes sense that we wouldn't have media days right now. The SWAC will announce updates related to rescheduling at a later date, and of course, we'll keep you posted on air and online. The Miami Marlins 2020 home opener versus the Baltimore Orioles set for tonight has been postponed as the team remains in Philadelphia following a COVID-19 outbreak in the clubhouse. It's being reported by ESPN's Jeff Passan that 11 of the 33 players who have been traveling with the team and 2 coaches have been infected with COVID-19. As far as tonight's game, it's been canceled and the Orioles are coming home tonight, ensuring Tuesday's game will not be played either. Now, the Yankees-Phillies game set for tonight has also been canceled since the Marlins just played the Phillies in Philadelphia in their opening series this weekend. But other than that, those matchups, all of the other MLB games are still going on as scheduled. And one of those games that is happening right now, the Braves are taking on the Rays down in Tampa Bay. Atlanta currently up 1-0 thanks to a homer from Dansby Swanson. Greg and Siobhan, you guys know I'm excited about that one.
Absolutely. Glad to hear that one. Coming up on WHNT News 19 at 6:30.
Senate Republicans and the White House expected to debut their version of an additional COVID-19 stimulus package.
So the plan will likely slash the federal COVID unemployment bonus of $600 per week.
What they hope to replace the bonus with, that's next at 6:30. And I'm hoping that the Marlins that they recover, that everybody's okay, and that selfishly we can get some baseball.
There's a lot of people, I guarantee, that are watching this Marlins thing very carefully as they see how to proceed.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Jerry and Christine are standing by. The news at 6:30 is after this break. Don't go anywhere.